Good morning, everybody. As said, John Kitchingman, Dassault Systèmes, and a recent new joiner after spending the last 20 years actually working on programs in digital, design, engineering, production, manufacturing, many times with Dassault Systèmes. So it was a delight in January of this year when I joined them as Managing Director for their Northern European division. Also a delight hearing Jürgen say that the leadership has to come from the north. So being a lad from Bradford, you know, I can put up with the cold, I think. A little better than Sheffield maybe, Paul, I don't know. And, but it's a delight to be with you. It's also a delight to see many of our clients with which we're working, BAE Systems, Scania, GSK, JLR, and also our partners, obviously Accenture, IBM, and our partners outside, exhibiting and demonstrating Industry 4.0 in action, as you just saw in the video, like Intrinsis and also Magenta, who will be in the roundtable discussions. So, what's our credibility to be able to be here to talk about Industry 4.0, and what you'll soon hear from us, our own version. We believe it's an industrial renaissance period. Many statistics, but one that really hit home to me when I joined in January. The Corporate Knights body awarded Dassault Systèmes with the #1 position globally for corporate sustainability. And when you look at the indices, environmental, social, financial, of course, but also the corporate sustainability of our products, to be #1 was something that made me personally very proud of the company that I had joined. Just before I joined in November of last year, we had what we call the Post-Revolutionary Debate. Sounds a bit dramatic, but we pulled together executives across a multitude of industries: transport and mobility, automotive, aerospace and defense, consumer products, life sciences, to actually understand what it was they were doing at a global level, at a local level, around this Industry 4.0. We asked them, you know, what is it really like to be part of it? What are you currently doing? How are you measuring it? And what are you doing next? As you can see, you know, very encouraging that Industry 4.0 is starting to become part of virtually everybody's strategy and planning. Even more encouraging that a third had already started to build or had built an Industry 4.0 strategy, some with a digital strategy already in place, but also a further commitment to see others following in their footsteps pretty quickly. Obviously, even more encouraging for us all is that, clearly aligned with what Jürgen said earlier, that we were to be continuing this manufacturing centre of excellence, which is the body of this business, the body of the Industry 4.0 agenda, etc. Well, what did we learn? Sorry. Clearly, there is a big appetite for change and investment. Plans are already starting. As we saw, 38% of people have already got a strategy in place. But there's also strong sharing. You know, companies that were competitors, suddenly there's no barriers to sharing that information, which is really, really encouraging. And hopefully we'll see more of it in the roundtable shortly. Digital transformation was just not purely to be adopted and to be led from IT. We were seeing far more business-led industry adoption of technology, where they were looking at the challenges. You know, we've been involved in these programs for many years where suddenly data is a major issue and you see sometimes siloed behavior in clients. We're seeing business and IT working together around technology adoption. And clearly, it's our role as partners and the supply chain to work with them to make these things really happen. I'll come back to the supply chain in a little bit more detail. Something Paul mentioned earlier, and I call this more working in a more agile fashion. Suddenly risk-taking is a little bit more accepted, failing fast, and removing the fear factor from failure. Safe risk-taking is really important as we move forward, and also as we build this body of people as part of the next generation of talent that we're wanting to adopt in our businesses, the next generation of leadership also. But also, supply chains are changing. Jürgen mentioned this earlier, small, medium-sized enterprises are playing a greater role in the manufacturing outcomes of the primes and the OEMs. They're taking on more responsibility. So to create that capability and enable that innovation, we've got to be able to help them withstand any economic shock. So what are we doing? A couple of our client examples, showing the way that companies are working internally, but also the way they're working with their external ecosystems and supply chains. We've heard of the digital twin from Deborah. We call ours the 3D experience twin, where we're helping create new possibilities, helping design, engineering and manufacturing, and all those involved in the product, engineering, through to production process. So they've got a single view from product through to production and a single perspective. This platform is helping our customers work not just within their own bodies but across the supply chain. And one of the first customers that we were working with that adopted this, and probably the largest car maker on the planet, is Toyota. And now they're using digital technology to virtualize, simulate, optimize all of their shop floor activity. Another client, Scania, they have this concept of production of one. Huge mass customization, high personalization within their vehicles that they can get from order to delivery in 8 weeks. This enables them to create a premium price in the market, which is fiercely competitive, and also enables a seamless digital engineering and manufacturing approach. So we believe, whether the title changes for next year, I'm not quite sure, but we're seeing an industrial renaissance period which extends beyond digitization. It's the emergence of new players and new categories of solutions, processes and services that provide sustainable innovation over productivity. The cloud is playing an important role here too, because it's ensuring that there's accessibility to technology that wasn't there before, that perhaps was only accessible by the larger companies, the OEMs or the primes. It's giving them the opportunity also, because a lot of the startups, Paul talked about some of the growth of the startups, they don't have a lot of the legacy that the major organizations do, so they can get to the endpoint more quickly, and with this accessible technology and infrastructure. And the picture there is of one of our newer clients, Joby Aviation. We call this Renaissance in the Cloud, excuse the pun. Joby is defining new business models, new disruptive business models to bring bespoke aircraft to their clients and developing really, really innovative product. They're using our platform, our 3D experience platform in the cloud, which provides their relatively small group of engineers access to the same capabilities of many far bigger organizations. They're using the platform to create 100% digital shop floor instructions to build prototypes of their product. What's more interesting is when they looked at capability, such as 3D printing. They could have built that capability in-house. They didn't want to do that. So we helped them build a marketplace so they could access actually a global set of players, negotiate, interact, and actually find the best solution for their purposes. So we've developed this concept, what we call the marketplace, a little bit more of that in a second. It's not on a large scale yet for Joby Aviation, but the business model is completely different. And it's these disruptive business models that we need to look at more and more as part of this Industry 4.0 and this industrial renaissance period. It's driving change, it's driving these new service models, and it's thinking also about the processes that are required for the businesses and not just technology on its own. So that needs leadership, and again, I'll come back to that towards the end. I mentioned the industrial renaissance. The 3D experience marketplace transforms the supply chain into a value chain. It provides a virtual social enterprise, pioneering a new way to do business, to innovate, to create social enterprise and pioneering a new way to innovate and create value in industry. An online platform and marketplace that enables people to trade. We've seen what Amazon have done in the retail, leisure, hospitality, transportation sector. The industrial world, we believe, is next. It's an online commercial platform providing businesses worldwide with an on-demand manufacturing and intelligent part sourcing capability. We're prototyping this in a number of industries, but we'll see more of it over the coming year. It's a game changer. It allows engineers to iterate and collaborate on design projects, on manufacturing applications, compare quotes from several different players, and find the best option. It reduces risk and errors, and ensures that a part or product can be manufactured while managing all aspects of transactions. And also helps around parts visibility and parts tracking around the supply chain. Something that many companies find problematic today and costly. So the 3D Experience Marketplace is pioneering a new way of doing business. It's an example of new disruptive business models, driving innovation, driving value in the industrial world. Leadership is something that Jürgen led with today in the conference. And this is absolutely imperative as we move forward. Finding measurable business impact. Many of you today, you've deployed technology for many, many years. And sometimes it's disappointing that we can't have the hard, verifiable facts of what those programs achieved. We must do that. And we're seeing that more and more by reducing production costs up to 30%, reducing accidents by over 25%. So we're starting to see actual verifiable data that can really measure and crystallize the business benefit of these programs. Finding new ways of doing things, new opportunities and new emerging business models. We've given some examples, some of my colleagues here have given other examples, but leadership must consider to do things differently. When we look at the 3D printing example we had with Joby Aviation, it's not another way to do the same thing. It's a different way to do something altogether. So it's opening new opportunities, new design and manufacturing of parts that were not possible before. The supply chain and this new value stream. It's important we get the company that can connect the entire value chain with this transformation. In the case of Boeing, this is one of the key drivers of the transformation that the company is willing to take based on our platform, to bring flexibility and agility to engineering to production internally. But they want to completely transform the way they do things, the way they want to interact, the way they want to be more dynamic and flexible with their entire supply and value chain. And then a very important point, the reskilling of the workforce. What skills do we need to be digitally enabled? What is the hiring, training and loyalty programs to retain those skills? State-of-the-art techniques may be required now by many companies around the cloud that was not there before. Perhaps some things that were done actually from a handmade perspective, as opposed to what they now need. So many considerations. I would say from a personal perspective, about 4 years ago, a good friend of mine gave me a book. It's called Legacy by another JK, this time James Kerr, so I can't actually claim fame to that. But it was all about leadership, and I do believe in passing the goodness on. I worked with Paul for 14 years in IBM, and we have this term about technical goodness. So if you want to read something about leadership, it's an amazing book. So that's my bit of goodness that I wanted to pass on to you today, as well as sharing what I just have. So thank you very much, and I look forward to being part of the roundtables. Cheers.